doing that role?
I don't know. That came out of nowhere. That is a good way to start off the stream, though, talking a little DC. I think it was kind of random. Well, actually, I know I was seeing some things. Wasn't it like The Rock and yeah, Cavill basically kind of put the rumor out there to just to troll people, and then after a couple of days, or basically a day, his manager came out and corrected it, and then Warner Brothers came out and corrected it. But it's almost beside the point whether he's gonna leave or stay with Warner Brothers when there's no scheduled appearances for Superman and the upcoming movies anyway.
Yeah. Well, you know, and the thing is, you know, I think I wonder if they're just doing it for publicity to kind of make up for, you know, the fact of he's not going to be in Shazam. He turned it down, and
yeah,
you know, but I don't know if you. The other thing I was going to say, did you see the new posted Black Canary art before?
Yeah, I saw you guys were talking about that in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I was kind of jumping around. Oh, wasn't that in Adam Hughes? I remember that picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
The art.
Yeah, that I don't know what they're doing. It's a shame that they're doing what they're doing. So.
Right on. Well, I guess we'll bring it back to Sporkman, since I actually have you guys here, two of the creators and people working on Sporkman. So Eric here is the writer, right?
Yeah, Eric's not with us. He is. Yeah, Eric is actually not with us. It's just me and Rodrigo. He's the Rod is the colorist.
Chuck.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Chuck. No, that's okay. I'm also one of the writers too. So
yeah, Chuck is one of the writers. You know, I've been talking to a few of you guys, so that is my bad for getting you guys mixed up.
Actually, you've been just talking with me.
Well, I meant on chat and stuff. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
This is Eric then.
No, this is Ninja.
Okay.
Yeah, Ninja is going to be doing a little mini ash can with us, and he's been a big supporter of our comics. So we decided to bring him in, and bring someone else from the community into the project, and help him grow his skills. He's got some really good art skills, so we figured we'd bring him in on a small little couple pages ash can for the backers. And then, like I said, we brought Rodrigo on because I love his colors.
Yeah.
From his comic Momiji, and which I highly recommend everybody go out and grab that comic, Red Ninja Momiji. It is probably one of the most badass females in a long time, along with Rags.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. I'd actually been following Rodrigo before I found out about Sporkman, so when you said he was doing the colors, I was like, really? No way. That's amazing. And actually, expanding on that, because I know you guys were on Marmaduke's stream last week on the 9th. Yeah, I was watching some of that, and yeah, I'm not up to the hosting abilities of Marmaduke. That guy's a genius, right? And his speaking ability, it's just, well, he's highly educated, so it's a little hard to live up to his standard. But that was a good stream, and why I bring it up is because Rodrigo was talking on there some about his schooling, going to art school and whatnot, and how he learned to do this stuff. Yeah. So I'd like to hear some more about that, honestly, if he's up for talking about it.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Well, there is not really too much to talk because since I've been drawing since I was a teenager, I never was really that good. First, I tried manga and anime because it was easy. But apparently, manga and anime style is very easy, but it has it's a whole game entirely. I started in art school like 5 years ago. The name of the school is Escuela de Arte y Dibujo de Oscar Alpérez. It's in Cuernavaca, Morelos, in Mexico. I there I learned to have a better structure, a better technique, uh, to start to make drawings. Uh, Here I started to develop Momiji. It was there when I decided to make my own project, start getting with artists and authors to create my character.
Yeah, that's really cool. You know, I remember you were talking about that and your art teacher, you know, where you went to school. It was really great at drawing and you learned from him. And I remember you talking on Twitter about Ed Benez, who, you know, obviously I'm a big DC fan and he's really one of my favorite artists. I mean, I really admire a lot of artists, but his run on Justice League was really awesome. I mean, it's a little embarrassing, but I've got like a photocopy of a 2-page splash page he did, and I've got it pinned up above my desk. So, you know, you can't buy posters and things like that, but you know, it's just that's how much like his art meant to me. So
Yeah.
I always thought it was cool when I saw you talk about it as well.
Yeah, he actually is like I like his style very much, and I want to imitate it, but so far I'm still learning to do it. That's why I wanted to work with them. With he has a school in Brazil, the Advanced Studio. So I contacted one of the agents, and he contacted me with Leo Matos. He's one of the students.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Is it well, you guys probably just talk in English. I was going to say it's a little tricky with the Spanish to Portuguese, but you probably just both speak English. So.
No, fortunately they speak English and Spanish, so there was no problem in that regard.
That's cool. You know, I wish I was bi or trilingual. That'd be amazing. So I got to talk to these guys. So Sporkman, honestly, it's been around a long time, right? Since 2005. Like this isn't just a flash in the pan thing. You guys have been dedicated to this and are really passionate about it. Like I saw you in the group chat, someone had something negative to say about Sporkman. Well, it was very negative, and you were just not happy about it. So to me, and sorry I'm going on, but to me that's really important and cool when a creator actually cares about the character. You know, it makes a big difference when it's something they created themselves too, I think.
Well, you know, the thing is, and what's important is, you know, I take criticism. You know, there's a big difference between negative criticism and positive criticism. You know, I'm all for people to criticize the project. You know, I opened up and I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm okay with constructive criticism. You have to be.
Sure.
But to blatantly write off something and say, oh, well, your art is shitty without even reading the project, there I have a problem. You know what I mean? And that's where that's what kind of if you're me. Now you're still very polite because you know I was hoping to maybe change his mind, but it seems like the guy wanted it for free, but didn't bite. So because the thing is, I as much as I don't mind giving stuff out for free to people, at the same point, a dollar is a dollar. You know what I mean? If you can't afford $1 to buy a comic, I kind of have some problems. But yeah, so really what it comes down to, the thing is, we are very passionate about this character. We've been doing this since, like you said, 2005. Now, the original character was originally created in 1996.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So originally he was created in 1996. It was a very I don't know if you sat around with a bunch of buddies and you're just drinking, have a good time. So we were on this topic of silly superhero names. And my one friend, Chris, who is the editor and the original letterer of the Sporkman comics, he kind of came up with the idea of Sporkman. And he, the couple days later, he drew this rough draft that you see in conventions, with him in the slippers. Now, the modern Sporkman, image is my best friend's redoing back in 2004 when he did the original costume. He kind of took some creative licenses and changed him to his modern look that we use, since then. But yeah, that actually started in as from the original idea. My best friend did the whole costume, won the costume contest, and I'm sure you saw the video for his first appearance. There, people were asking for a comic. They were like, "Hey, yeah, are you guys going to do a comic?" And we're like, we would have never thought of doing a comic. Who would want a comic of a silly superhero named Sporkman? And one thing which is really funny, because one of the people in the chat the other night, they were like, "Yeah, Sporkman is such a silly, stupid name." It's like, well, look at most of all the other characters. Spider-Man. I mean, at the time back in the 1960s, most people probably would have thought that was a stupid name.
Well, I agree, and plus too, there's nothing wrong with having a silly and lighter side to things. Part of what's really lacking, I don't know about Marvel, I don't keep up with them, but even in DC, most of the books are geared for teenagers and older. Mm-hmm. So there needs to be kind of an all ages book as well. And I kind of get the impression that, well, Convention certainly was okay for all ages, and I get the impression going to Japan is too.
Yeah, actually, and it is. And Ninja can really speak a testament to this. His son, Ninja, how old is your son?
He's going to be 9 in November, so he's 8 right now.
He's 8 right now, and his favorite superhero right now is Sporkman. Now, I know down the road that will probably change it, but he loves our character because it is age appropriate. Ninja loves our character because it is age appropriate. Right. So we go into, we put in there humor that adults will get, but at the same time, we do things that kids will like. And that's one of the big things I think, and I know Ninja and I have had this discussion multiple times. There is this major lack of all age, kid appropriate, and adult appropriate comics. Now everything is so focused on this angst. All these characters are angsty, and nobody's fun anymore. There's no fun in the terms of just having a fun day. You can still have some serious overtones, but just the character is having fun overall.
Yep. Yeah, everything's gotten to be dark and gloomy and gritty. Yeah.
So, and that's one of the big things for me that we really wanted to focus on, and don't get me wrong, we love our dark superheroes. I mean, I specifically am writing another character called Volt Chaos, because I like the darkness. I think dark serves its time and place within the story of the element you're doing, but there does need to be kind of this all age thing that really is untapped. People want to say why kids are not buying comics anymore. This is my opinion why kids are not buying comics anymore. They're gravitating towards manga, and they're gravitating away from the American industry because there isn't stuff that is appropriate for them.
Yeah, that's definitely a topic I'm pretty passionate about and find interesting. I think there's that's one of the reasons for sure, but there's a whole host of reasons why comics aren't getting into the hands of kids anymore. Part of it is accessibility. It's not really a newsstand thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like, how many 10-year-olds are going to bike, well, depending where they live in the country, 120 miles to find a comic book shop? And then with their $5, they can get one issue of something. And it's not a viable way to do it anymore. I'm not sure. Well, I think the Alterna way is probably the right way to go. Things like DC bringing their comics to Walmart, getting accessibility to people is really important. But then, things like Indiegogo, and I've got the link for your guys' book in the description box if people want to check it out. But just the online thing gives people a lot more accessibility. And with this book, it's really affordable too.
And that was actually our other key. You're bringing up a really good point. We really wanted to, first, one of the reasons why we didn't want to make it overpriced, because these are re-releases of things. We're re-releasing the comic in color and stuff like that. So originally we were charging $4 because the cost of printing when you're doing a low print run, it's kind of when you're doing 20, 30, 40 issues print run, your price is a lot higher, so you had to charge a higher amount. So because we're doing a higher print run, our cost is a lot cheaper, so therefore I can transfer that cost savings onto the customer. So really the buy-in is really at a really good price. $12 for 4 comics. You're not going to get that unless you're going Alterna. You know what I mean? We're trying to. I mean, DC raised their prices to $3.99. I guess pretty much across all the board now.
That was really a bummer because that was a big selling point of Rebirth. Not all the titles were $2.99, but most of them were. Most of the main line too, like Wonder Woman and Super Action Comics and whatnot. Well, $2.99 at first.
Yeah, and that was a big reason why I got back into recollecting a lot of the, I'd stopped there for a while, and then, I'd switched over to the trades, but then I kind of got back into, I was buying Batman and, and some of the other titles because, they were at $2.99, and now that they're going up, it's like, I need to rethink this. Am I going back to trades? Am I just going to wait for trades, or do I, find some other? Do I go digital? And buy on when there's sales and stuff like that. Because I mean, at some point, the pricing is kind of hurting. Either which way. I'm backing all the Indiegogos, plus them backing DC. The good titles that I enjoy from DC and people like Terry Moore and stuff like that. So. Something's got to give, and I think I would rather give on the $3.99 the $3.99 titles and keep the ones that are inexpensive, and the Indiegogos and keep backing them. So
yeah, that makes sense. Another thing too, if you guys get to $10,000, right, you're gonna increase it so it's 5 comics, not just 4.
Yep. So if we hit the 10,000 mark, we are going to do an individual print run of Red Ninja Momiji. This is so backers can get a copy of Momiji from Rodrigo. Unfortunately, one of the downsides is the shipping and handling cost on comics when you're shipping internationally is really expensive. So if we can get that point, we can actually do a print run. And then what we'll do is we'll ship the product, the Momiji comic, with the shipping and handling and everything. So that way everybody's just paying one price. They're getting 5 comics. Yeah. And then possibly right now, if we can get to the 15,000, I might have another project in the works that I'm waiting on for some finalization with a particular comics gate community person who needs some print back support. His comics right now doing really well digitally, but I know there are some people who have expressed they wanted it in print version, so we might be doing that too. We're just finalizing some detail, but we do have another person who we are working with to get their project out, so it could potentially turn into 6 comics.
Wow. But you can't say who that is yet?
I can't say who it is yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully within the next few days, it might be. We might be able to finalize it. If I did give some hints. I don't want to drop the name yet.
I know. Yeah. I know who it is.
But yeah, so but here's the big thing. Everyone had to say, where are you going to get 5 comics for $12? Essentially. Because now the shipping and now the one I know one thing I did want to address, a lot of people did say about the shipping and handling. There is a flat fee that we are charging across the board for everybody because of we're trying to help international people get their products too. Depending on where you're shipping, you can be paying as much or more than what I mean. For instance, you give me a quick point in case to ship. We priced to ship 4 comics to Mexico at a flat rate was almost $30.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
that's true.
That's brutal. I know my friends in Australia and whatnot. Just even buying comics in the shop, they cost a lot more because of that shipping.
Mm-hmm. So we wanted to give people a way to internationally, and we're not the first people to do this. DNC did the same thing too. He basically said, "Hey, we're going to have a standard flat shipping rate across everybody," kind of just spreading. You know what I mean? America, we're helping. Now it's going to include shipping and handling and insurance, but we're just trying to spread it so that way everybody can get it all across the world instead of paying, backers from Mexico or South Africa or Germany. They're paying 3 times the amount versus, the Americans, So I'm trying to keep it kind of more organized in terms of the shipping handling. And that came from some feedback from, some people who were international backers, that felt that, they were kind of getting, that's one of the big reasons why they can't support a lot of the comics, because there isn't international shipping. So we took that into account. So that's really, cool. So when you really look at it with the shipping and handling, $24, when most buy-in costs for most of the Indiegogos are $25, and you're getting 48 pages, maybe 50 pages, you're getting with us $24. You're starting out right away. You're getting over 150 pages. Because the original Japan issues are 91 pages, plus then you're getting the Ashcan from Ninja and Cody Fernandez from Cowboy Jack Steel. Both of them are writing the little mini Ashcan. So, really? Yes. Yep.
I didn't even realize he was on there. We should have asked him to join the chat.
If you want to go ahead and give a shout out for Cody to come in, he's more than welcome to come in if you want to.
Yeah, the Jack Irons project.
Yeah, Jack Irons.
That guy's cool. Great.
So so I asked one of the reasons why I asked Cody if he could write a small the small issue is just to kind of give him some more, throwing him some more support, and like I said, involving people from the community, and then bringing Ninja on board to do the artwork, because he did a fantastic little panel of Sporkman, Clarissa, and himself, Ninja himself in this panel versus Shogun-Z, and I really loved it. I'm like, oh man, I got to get him in just for the little mini Ashcan, and then down the road, we might expand things more. But I really just loved his art. I thought his art was really good, so I wanted to give him some support too. So
yeah. Makes sense to me. You get talented people, it's going to do well. It's off to a good start too. You guys are going to hit $1,000 anytime, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we're doing right now. We're at 22 backers. So I'm really proud. Now, one thing is it's going to take us a little bit more to build the funds up because we are at a lower tier. I think if people see that we're offering this lower tier, I would rather have the comic in people's hands. That's part of the whole thing is we need this to get into people's hands, so that way people can see that, there is a viable option for people to get a comic at a good price.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the big difference now, just to give you the big difference between the digital or the $12 tier. Now that's going to have the extra Ashcan issue, but it's not going to have like the bonus art and stuff like that. So that's one big difference between the tiers, just to let everybody know. At the trade paperback, you'll get the bonus art, all the bonus stuff. In terms of the actual trade with the extra art and the fan art and some of the original concept arts, whereas the $12 is because we're trying to get the story out to people. They're just going to get the comic themselves without the extra stuff.
So that's the big difference between the $12 and then $25 tier?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
But they're still going to get it colorized. They're still going to get it relettered. They're still going to get the Ashcan. So that none of that is going away. They're still getting that that stuff. But the big difference is they're just not going to get all the concept art or the fan art and stuff like that. It's just going to be the comics themselves. So
okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's good to have a lot of options for people. So you have a Sporkman decal. What is that exactly? Is that like the chibi Sporkman, or?
No, the Sporkman decal is actually just the emblem of the Sporkman logo. If you look at the T-shirt, you know how we have the Spork emblem on it with with the Sporkman. So the decal is just basically the helmet in a decal form.
Ah, okay, I see.
So that's and that can be put on your car. That can be put on your computer. That's kind of a big thing where people putting decals on their computers and stuff like that. So yeah, it can be put anywhere you want to put it on.
Right on. So for people listening, we should probably just kind of explain like Sporkman as a character, what he does and all that, and like conventions, his adventure there, and then what he might be doing in Japan, why he went there and all that.
Sure. So the original comic started out as you said in 05. It's when we released the original first issue, Sporkman Conventions. Now with Sporkman Conventions, that was meant to be a standalone comic. We really weren't looking to do anything else beyond that because people had requested the comic, So we originally wrote this. My best friend wrote the story pretty much overnight. We then went into the backer. So conventions basically is exactly what it is. It's Sporkman at a convention, and he thwarts a terrorist plot by cosplayers and a William Shatner lookalike. And it's supposed to be punt on William Shatner, and of course
the parody, basically, huh?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So it is a parody on basically, William Shatner's just jealous because this new Star Trek show is more popular than the original, and I can so see William Shatner doing something like that, just because who he is. But I mean, I love him, but it's just kind of we're playing up the humor side of it. So then we, and we're kind of going into the element. You ever see the cosplayers that at a convention that go super into the character? Like, I mean, they are like literally RPing the character. Yeah. So we played up that angle, and some of these cosplayers, if you look at some of their stuff, I mean, they look like they're realistic. They're doing a fantastic job. So those are the other things we're kind of playing up, and then of course the whole Sporkman going into this convention, and he's kind of lecturing other superheroes and stuff like that. About outrageous outfits and. I mean, come on, this is a guy preaching to the choir. You know what I mean? So we're using kind of like his interaction with these other heroes at the ridiculousness of the superheroes, while he's not kind of being, you know what I mean? We're kind of using him as the foil for like how superheroes can be kind of over the top. Yeah. So eventually what happens is he kind of saves the day, he foils the plot and stuff like that. And, so that was just meant to be a standalone issue. And then while we were writing that, we kind of got this idea. At the same time, this is when, anime is really hitting its big stride. This is in 05 when a lot of the big shows like... was
it Full Metal Alchemist?
Full Metal Alchemist, Gundam Seed, Cowboy, all those things that are just hitting like the American television stuff, and they're really, the whole anime scene is really blowing up. So, and I've always been really big into the anime scene. I'm old school. I was buying VHS at $30 a pop for 2 episodes. So
that's old school.
Oh yeah, that's old school anime. Yeah,
that was in like 80s or 90s money 90s, too. So
yeah, late 90s.
So it was like $50 really.
Yeah. So basically, what happened is, so I got my best friend into anime, and I said, dude, you got to watch this series, Gundam Seed. And I'm a huge mecha fan. I love Gundam. Gundam is my favorite meta series, just overall, because I like giant robots. I like those elements of war and stuff like that. So he finally watched Gundam Seed, and this I don't know how many people have seen Seed or not. There's a shot of the first time that the Gundam Freedom is revealed, and it's this light. All these lights pop on, and you're seeing this giant robot and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, what if we took a Sporkman and just put him in Japan, and we have the scene where he gets the Super Mega Sporktron? And of course, at that time, it wasn't named the Super Mega Sporktron. It's like just giant robot, and we have this light where it's thrown the switch. Pretty much, you know, the image that I showed of, you know, just the head of Sporkman and stuff like that. That scene is really what inspired the rest of the entire comic of the Super Mega Sporktron's head being revealed. So that really was the genesis of, you know, Sporkman Goes to Japan. So really what the concept was behind it is, what if we took Sporkman out of his element, took him from America, placed him in Japan, where all the anime tropes were real things. That in Japan, this is just what it's normal things. Just normal things happen this way. It is a way to make it kind of like, because it's uniquely Japanese, especially if you watch like the speed lines, the way the animation is done. They're all very uniquely Japanese. And so we kind of wanted to play up those elements, you know, those anime tropes and the manga tropes and stuff like that. So we're like, well, what if we took them and we just basically Stranger in a Strange Land, we just threw them in there and we just added all these elements from Japanese culture, manga, anime, and we kind of adapted it into the story. So just let backers know, like, for instance, like every area that is mentioned a town in Japan, those are actual towns in Japan. Like, I actually went and researched towns, culture, and stuff like that, just to make sure it was more authentic.
That's cool.
Now we did play some liberties on certain things. Like, for instance, like our main female character, her last name is Wubi. It is a Chinese last name, but it is also the name of a early release of Bunto. And I don't know if everybody knows what a Bunto is. It's a Linux system. So it's kind of a play on words. I did get some feedback. People didn't particularly like that. If she was supposed to be Japanese, they preferred
this character.
Give me a second here. I'm not. Okay. Natsumi. That is our female hero.
This is who you're talking about, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So Natsumi is she is our female hero. She's a scientist, and she is also Sporkman's love interest. So you know, basically, you know, we never really give her like who she really is in the background in the comic. We're not looking at the origin stories of her yet, but the character herself, it basically is. She is living in Japan. She works in Japan and stuff like that. So we got some feedback on the last name. Some people felt we should give her a more Japanese sounding name versus having a Chinese sounding name.
Oh, okay.
Because there is some puns in the movie. Basically, you know how like most Westerners have a very hard time pronouncing Asian names. You know, because the way the character sounds and stuff like that, they are very unique in their languages versus, you know, here. So basically what we did was we played up this angle where Sporkman just never says her name correctly at all through the entire thing. Just because the fact of, you know, if you ever notice, like even to this day, one of the biggest things that is a big criticism about anime and American actors when they pronounce Japanese names, even in most dubs, they're pronounced incorrectly. So,
yeah, we were talking about that before the stream went live, how sometimes you're better off with the subtitles than the dubbing.
Because of that, you know. So yes, so we basically, a lot of stuff we're playing up on those elements, and it's more not to be insulting. I know, and so one person made a claim, they're like, oh, well, you're being racist and insensitive to Japanese people. I'm like, no, do you not get, we're playing up the fact that it's the Westerners that have the problem. It's not the Japanese, it's the Westerners that are having the problem. Because we are so insulated in our worldview at sometimes, so we're playing that angle up. You know, that Sporkman is, in a way, is the typical Westerner, you know, who just can't do anything right for some reason. But he turns out to be this hero who really ends up saving the day. You know, so I don't really want to give a lot of stuff away because it really just plays into the fact of, you know, Sporkman ends up, he's respectful of the culture. You know, he's not He doesn't try to, basically come in as a Westerner and replace Japanese culture at all. No, he adapts himself to the culture.
Yeah, I didn't really understand the criticisms of it from that regard. He's just in Japan, and Japan happens to be this magical, mystical place where there really are ninjas and mechas and crazy bunny rabbits with super long tails, and it's fun. And having some humor in it, it sucks they're already criticizing it over a joke. Like, humor is a whole aspect of Sporkman. And has been from the start.
And I think that's part of the reason why they've lost the whole aspect. If they can't get that it's really a play on tropes on American superheroes, and along with a lot of the tropes from Japan that are great. So people, they're having. I really think that this is showing that humor is lost on this whole fandom of comic fans. But it's okay. I always say no press. If I didn't have any press or or any press whatsoever, it'd be okay. Bad press is not negative. It only builds interest for my project. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So, and I know the other thing too is we also play up. There's a couple other things, like, without giving out story. There you showed the Spork team. Yeah. So the Spork team. Is, I know you and I had talked about that, like, your favorite character. You loved Screech.
Yeah, Screech is cool.
Yeah, we did that kind of originally, and this is actually the original concept. Originally, we were going to actually have Team Spork as all anamorphized. They would all be basically
they'd all be cats. But you ended up going with just one, which is probably better. I don't know. It makes him more unique, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, we went with, you have your standard, you have your standard female character, kind of like you do in most mech animes. You have your kind of overweight guy, and then you have your your standard kind of buff Japanese guy who is like the sidekick type character, and then you have your anthropomorphic animal. So we're kind of hitting what's.
Then you have the finished or the team you have now too. Let's see. This would be them here. How they look now. Whoops. Oh, jeez. Here we go. More like this. Right?
Yep.
The current team there. So now there's Screech is just the only one who's like a cat, and the other three are people.
Yep.
Regular humans. So that's pretty cool. Looking good. So, Rodrigo, you're going to be coloring this, huh?
Sorry, I had my mic mute. I'm looking forward to it. I really want to start working on it soon.
It's going to be cool. I can already imagine it with the colors. It's going to be really cool.
I think I have a good amount of work here. I would like to see how it looks colored.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and that's one of the big things of why I really wanted to hit Rodrigo, because I think his colors in Momiji were very popping. Now ours are a little bit more flat in terms of color, but still, his colors are very vibrant. And I think that's what Sporkman needs. If you look at conventions, they're still very vibrant, and that tone needs to continue. And I think Rodrigo brings that element from Momiji, and that's what his range is. If you look at his preview, very very dark tones and stuff like that. But you look at his main comic, and it's very bright. So he's got a great range.
Yep.
And that is. Fantastic as the colors. I love the effective, and I've looked at other colorists, and Rodrigo and I have been very supportive of each other pretty much since day one when I bought the first comic, when I saw it was available. And you know, I really felt from day one when Rags really got that, you know, and I have to really give a shout out for Rags. When I saw what they were doing with their first issue, they kind of really they're like, oh man, I need to bring my A game on this, you know, because they're up in the ante big time with their project. And then when Rodrigo released Momiji, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys are, you know, I'm like, I got, what can I do to bring my A game too? You know, because we already had the artwork done. I'm like, I got to get the coloring. That's where I need to bring the A game in, you know. So I had to make sure I get the best colors, I think, for what we did, and I think we did. I honestly feel that Rodrigo is going to really bring a whole new dynamic to this project, you know, because we've been black and white for so long, and we've always wanted to be color on Japan, because that's the thing is, I think Japan, if you look at the 3 covers of Japan, I mean, they pop with the colors. You know what I mean? They're very vibrant and stuff like that. Whereas I think black and white kind of doesn't serve Sporkman as well as being in color. And that's why. Go ahead.
Superhero comics, really, the color is a big part of it. That's kind of why sometimes with the cinematic universe, they go into a real subdued color palette. And I'm like, this doesn't look like a comic book, really, you know? Sometimes it's like that, but usually it's a very bright, vibrant medium, especially with superheroes, and you have ninjas and stuff. So it's really important to have a good colorist on this. And I think, like you were saying, changing from just black and white to being in color is going to be a big selling point, and a good reason to get it. But I wanted to ask Ninja too, since we haven't heard too much from him, about the part he's going to be adding to the book, his ashcan.
All right. Well, at the moment, I'm just kind of working on some concepts. I want to make sure everything's cool with Chuck for everything that I send to him. But you know, it was really cool of him to bring me onto this, as you know, pretty much just starting out as a fan. I always did want to have my own comic, and he's really given me a leg up on that, getting me basically pushing me to be able to have that at some point. To, you know, just you kind of put me on the spot, but
I do that.
You know, I don't mind. You know, I mean, I'm so proud of everything that he's done here, and even if he wouldn't have brought me onto this project, I'd still be backing it 110%, because it's something to be able to believe in again. You know, finally we have creators that actually have respect for fans, that are producing a good product. You know, it really did, you know, make me feel good. And I've been a Spork fan since before the Indiegogo, and I got all the copies of I've got the copies that he's got put out at the moment. Every single one, even Sporkman to the rescue. Which, you know, I have to say that's a good one too. Like, the good writing on that one. But, you know, I'm going to put my best foot forward here, and I'm going to do what's right for Sporkman and do a fun comic, whatever the plot may be. I'm just working on different potential, I don't know, little covers or something, promotional ads.
That's cool.
But,
well, it sounds like you know the character and you respect the character, so that's really important. You know, I'm sure whatever you end up adding to it is going to be really amazing. And especially, you were talking about creators and how they interact with fans. That's something I really don't understand the way, not all, but a lot of the so-called comics pros are really not nice to customers or fans. And it's strange, because if you're on a book and you're passionate about it, or even if you aren't, see, that's another thing I don't get. If you're creating a comic, like, DC hired you to write Superman or Batman or whatever, and you know, those are just random examples, but it's like, how could you not be passionate about that and want to talk about it all day, every day to people? Like, people will ask them about their book and they take it as like a waste of their time. To me, I can't even comprehend it, you know, like they could have me write some total low-level character, you know, dig someone up who hasn't been printed since they bought Fawcett back in the 50s, you know, like I don't care. I would be hyping the shit out of that. Like, I don't know. It's weird to me. So the passion you guys have is really refreshing.
I think part of the problem is, you know, once you're in an industry for a long time, you start to lose. I kind of have this analogy. It's kind of like it comes from the fact of interacting with the religious aspect of who I am. So I have this analogy that, you know, pastors and teachers need to, in order to remember who they are, they need to get down in the trenches. You know, they need to, get involved with the lay people, get involved with, doing the grunt work. I think when you get to some, not saying that these guys aren't doing the grunt work, because they are doing their projects. The problem is I think they forget what they're doing. And a lot of them they're doing these projects for DC and Marvel. They're not creating their own stuff. And that's what I mean by the trenches. They're not going and creating their own characters. This is why I have a big respect for like Rick Remender, Jonathan Hickman, Greg Rucka for some things, because these guys are still creating their own things.
That's really cool you brought up Rick Remender. That's so weird. I was just talking about him on another live stream. Yeah, he's a really amazing writer.
He is.
Yeah.
Matt Fraction is another person. These guys who actually go out and they, when you're walking away, and this is why I got to give props to those Matt Fraction, Rick Remender, and Jonathan Hickman. These guys had rockstar careers with Marvel, and all three of them walked away to do their own creator-owned projects. That is mad respect, in my opinion, because they're like they care about creating their own stuff and being involved with their own stuff. And I understand part of the reason why they took that, they needed some stability for their own family and stuff like that. But then they got themselves established enough that they can actually viably walk away and say, okay, well, now I'm going to work with my own creator-owned projects that are going to keep the money coming in. And that is going to be interactive with the fans. And, and I'll give you an example. Both Rick Remender and I have like completely different ideologies. And I've talked with him, but he is very respectful.
That's so cool. I mean, I've just read some of his stuff. Like, I really liked his Captain America. And I'm not a huge Marvel fan, but I thought his Escape from Dimension Z.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that story arc. The library here has it on trade, and I read it, and I was like, yeah, this is good stuff. But I know he's done indie stuff too. But go ahead.
I was going to say that run got me back into Captain America right after, because I didn't care for them killing him and stuff like that. But that run got me back into Captain America. It made me excited for Captain America because Rick did such a great job. If you want some really good other titles by him, his Death and Glory, I believe that's his. I haven't started reading it yet, but a lot of people have really praised that. There is East West, I believe, East to West.
There's 7 to Eternity.
7 to Eternity. There is Low. Low is a really interesting comic series. I really highly recommend it. It's just a very, very weird. Then there's also Fear Agent. If you haven't read any of the Fear Agents, I highly recommend him. He's a fantastic writer. We just may have completely different politics. His views do come through his writing. I don't have a problem with your views coming through your writing. I just don't like things ham-fisted into your writing, and then you turn around and you treat your fans like shit, in my opinion. And that's where I have a huge problem. Why are you going to the whole thing? Like, I came back to Gail Simone last night, and if all intents and purposes, if that did not throw me into Comicsgate, it pretty much has solidified me into Comicsgate, because she was like the most disrespectful person, saying, "Oh, I didn't say that you guys." I'm like, no, you're basically sitting there bashing somebody for their artwork that they did a year ago and what they wrote. People can change within a year in how their writing is, and you're going to gauge people's projects off of that was done as like a fan project. you're going to judge other people's works because of that. You are the problem with the industry because you're looking down on people. And I said to her, why don't you lift people up? Give constructive criticism. Tell them what they can do to fix their artwork. Tell them what they can do to fix their writing. Don't sit there and say, you're a piece of shit, you know. And
was that with Iron Sights she was talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. Give me a second here.
You know, I think I saw all that. I don't know. It's really disappointing because she writes so many titles. It's absurd. Like main books on both DC and Marvel at the same time. That's freaking rock star status. Like that's why she's just above everyone else in her mind because that's how she's treated. I mean, can you imagine writing multiple books? And she's like got other projects too, you know, and she'll be doing DC, Marvel, and then she's got like Conan or Lion Forge, and then she'll be writing I don't even know. Oh, Red Sonja, that's what it was. So she's got books on Dynamite.
What? Why is she writing Red Sonja? That's going to be the worst. I like that character.
She did before. I don't think
I didn't know that. Well, then again, I'll tell you the truth.
Basically,
I have not picked up
female hero. She's probably written it at some point.
Well, truth be told, I haven't really picked up a Marvel title since like 2016. Just because, I mean, they were getting bad. As soon as Disney bought them, I knew that something bad was going to happen. And I've watched it go downhill ever since then. Like, they had all the money in the world now, and it's just like they're just throwing it right into the dumpster fire.
Yeah.
With DC, though, I find it a little ironic that they were purchased by Warner Brothers because they had been buying up small, you know, comic book companies for basically their whole existence. Like DC has so many characters, but so many of them have come from other sources, you know.
Yeah.
Even like crazy stuff like Green Arrow and whatnot. That was like in Fun Comics. And Plastic Man was from somewhere. I think Fun or Adventure Comics.
Well, you have the Question, which is from Charlton. Same thing with Captain Marvel.
Right?
I'm sorry, he's not Shazam. He's Captain Marvel.
Yeah, he is Captain Marvel.
That's brutal. I have to go with Shazam though, because that's what DC calls him. Like,
that's not. Yeah, well, originally he was Captain Marvel, and actually, if you really wanted to, there's a lot of those old characters that are public domain characters that you could write, I suppose.
Heck yeah!
So
there's this.
You could write your own Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Well, no, Marvel now owns the name. So you can't do Captain Marvel.
Oh, now they own it again.
Oh, yeah, they own the name. Oh. Yeah, when they relaunched after the original Captain Marvel died, basically what happened was DC kind of let the title kind of go into kind of like development hell. And with trademark law, you have to renew your trademark every so many years, and you have to be actively doing a project. I do believe it's within your trademarks are 10 years, but you have to be actively doing a project within 3 years.
Wow.
And if you don't do something within 3 years within that trademark, you kind of almost lose a trademark. This is what a lot of people don't realize, why there's big differences between copyright laws and trademark laws. So for instance, like Sporkman is copyrighted 100%. He's registered, copy marked, and everything. He's not trademarked yet because the trademark laws are very different.
Does that mean I can make like illegal like counterfeit Sporkman figurines and sell them?
Technically you could.
All right.
But the problem is I could also bring a copyright violation against you too.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't do that. I just
no, I know. But the reason being, because part of the reason why there is, I'll let everybody know, there is another guy. And when we created our comic, there was another guy who also kind of created his own thing called Sporkman. Now his is an actual spork that is anthropomorphized, and it's got hands and he's got hair like a spork and stuff like that. It was a web comic, so a lot of people have gotten our two projects confused. Now he is not he is technically not registered copyrighted. He just is copyrighted. You know, once you put something down on paper, be it either writing or drawing, you know, that's considered a poor man's copyright, basically.
Yep, just creating something, like, you own it.
Yes, exactly.
It's like that with YouTube videos too. That's why you can, you know, if someone straight uploads your content, you can be like, nope.
Yeah. So trademark laws come into this whole other ball game that kind of, you know, you have to do stuff with, like, the United States is very strict on trademark laws. Like, who gets it? Like, you can have multiple Sporkman names. For instance, there's actually a company out there that creates sporks, and they in the shape of a character, and they call him Sporkman, and he's an eating utensil. Because the trademark laws, there can be, he is in the food industry, we can create one in the Sporkman in the comic name. So, because there's different levels. So what happened basically was, bringing it back to what happened with Captain Marvel. So basically, they own the copyright, but the problem is they didn't do anything with the trademark. So they basically let it go, and they basically left it go for like 15, 20 years. And that's when Marvel came out with their Captain Marvel. Because, you know, his original name was Marvel.
Yeah.
In the 1970s. Well, what that did was that basically, effectively, they created a whole new trademark, and the copyright and trademark for that character. Charlton, DC at the time, basically said, no, we own the rights to it. And then they had this whole huge legal battle and stuff like that. Well, because they lost it, because they effectively did not keep the trademark active. And that's how they lost the lawsuit. And that's why they had to be forced to change the name. Marvel won that.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a huge... This is why people got to realize that when you're doing stuff, you got to trademark and copyright as much as you can, because you have to protect your project. You know, you have to protect the whatever the character you're coming up with, you know, the name, you know, you have to be able to protect that as much as possible, because as you know, with DC and Marvel, they both ripped off of each other.
So then hypothetically, if I had a comic idea and I posted it on my channel, then it would be copywritten and my idea would somewhat be protected.
Yes. The moment you
I'm glad I did that.
Yeah, the moment you drew it on paper and you post it on your channel, it basically comes out. So you're copyrighted, but you're not trademarked. Keep that in mind there, because they're two different things. You're copyright protected, and you can register yourself for a copyright. Our Spork emblem is trademarked. You know, the actual iconic emblem on Sporkman's face is trademarked. Or is copyrighted, excuse me. I keep wanting to use the thing. So it's copyrighted. So anything that item is on is protected. So nobody can duplicate our comic because our emblem is there.
Anybody you better trademark Sporkman before Vox Day does.
Yeah, I know. Well, he'd have a very hard legal battle, because we've been around since 2005, so we have enough ammo.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
He'll try.
But he's kind of dumb.
To bring it back to the comic, so really what people need to do is you got to really protect your IP, whatever you're doing, you know, and that's really the big important thing, is protecting what you're creating. So that's why we're doing what we're doing, is we want to get the project out there. We're keeping things active, because also when we go to the government to trademark our Sporkman, the government they're going to come back and say, well, have you guys done anything with this project? You know what I mean? You can't just trademark something to trademark something. You actually have to prove that you're actually working with that product.
Yeah, otherwise people just trademark everything.
Correct. Which is one of the big reasons why you had that kind of that back and forth between Ethan and Vox Day, because Vox Day can't just come and say, hey, I'm going to trademark Comicsgate to create this imprint. Well, he hasn't printed anything under that.
It was freaking ridiculous to just come out of right field and be like, oh, this is mine. Like, who the fuck are you? Like,
yeah.
For real, like it wasn't even someone that was like remotely
like the meme.
Yeah, it was just sorry, it blew me away. It was like, what? Who do you think you are just to lay claim to a whole community when you aren't even actively a part of it? Like, it was so strange, but he got smacked down pretty hard, so I guess we'll just let it go. Like, by the end, I almost felt bad for him. It was just like, holy cow.
I think in all honesty, he was probably waiting in the wings. This is just my view.
Yeah, I mean, Alt Hero had been around, but like, I didn't consider that shit Comicsgate. Like, man, just because you're like far right doesn't mean you're automatically part of the community. Like, I don't even know. Like, it was weird because he didn't even try and talk to anyone about it first. Like, you're gonna do something like that, you better talk to Ethan and Richard and probably about 10 other people, like, just to drop that and say, like, I own Comicsgate, I trademarked it, this is my logo. Okay, well, have fun with that.
And we weren't having it because the whole point is, we don't want politics to be either. And I don't know about where you guys stand politically. I do lean right. I'm not far right, but I lean right. As a conservative Christian, so I do have my views. But there's no way in hell I'm going to support someone who is actively promoting an ethno state. I don't want it anywhere near my comics. I don't want it anywhere near my industry.
No.
At all.
Yeah,
I think that's why he got
to yourself, Vox.
Yeah, I think that's why he got rejected so roundly. It was just like, no. Like, this is the last thing we need. And almost instantaneously, people on the other side, if you want to call it that, were just so thrilled that Vox Day was part of Comicsgate.
This is why I think he's been waiting in the wings, because you noticed as soon as he did that they kind of go in there. They got right in there. That the people, the ideologues on the far left, I have always said both sides are just as bad as each other. They're both SJWs, just of a different nature, but anyhow, politics neither here nor there. So bringing it back to the Sporkman, this is one of the reasons why we want to be able to be getting our project out there to everybody, because we don't want to force people to say you're Comicsgate or you're not Comicsgate. We want people to be able to say, hey, we want to be judged on our own merits. But even though I back myself personally 100%, I back Comicsgate. I believe professionalism is very important. I believe that customer interaction is very important. When you treat your people like crap, you're being either your fans or your supporters. Why are you? I agree with you. Why are you doing a project? Why are you? Yeah. This was a tweet I put out the other day. If you can't support your customers, and you're willing to take and say, hey, you know what, you're shit because of your political views, you've lost all argument, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's weird.
I do the same.
Oh yeah. I don't know. It is strange. People. It's like, were they assigned to write it? The books,
Yeah, I think I think if I remember correctly, what they do is, especially in the DC side. Have you ever watched any of their training video, like their camp videos or anything like that?
No, that sounds cool though.
Yeah, so basically, what a few years ago, I actually watched one of these. So basically, every year they have this retreat. And they actually get to all the creators that are under, DC and stuff like that. And they bring them together. And all the creators, the artists, and everything like that, they basically go to this camp and they basically sit there and this is where they talk about what their projection is for the year, how they're going to go. This is how they come up with all their story ideas for the year and stuff like that. So they have this camp that they do, and this is who they bring in their support. And normally, a writer will have a specific artist. So, for instance, let's say the way we want to do it is, I would love to be able to down the road. Rodrigo does all our coloring, and Giffney does all our art, and then we farm out some stories out to Ninja, and let's say he does his stuff. So, artists and the writers have specific artists that they usually work with too. So that's how they kind of get grouped together into their projects and stuff like that. So they're usually picked by the writers, and the writers then pick the artists who are going to be on their projects and stuff like that. And that's all done on the DC side. Now Marvel, who knows with Marvel? I think they sit there and they throw crap, they do craps, and then they're like, okay, so let's get our writer. Oh, hey, we rolled Dan Slott. So okay, let's do this. You know what I mean? It's like who?
Marvel's freaking bingo. We got bingo cards to see who wins.
They have a roulette.
The lotto.
Go ahead.
The Gail Simone roulette. Yeah,
they have a lottery. I wouldn't be surprised.
They look in the bag and it's just Gail Simone written on every piece of paper. That explains
it. But I mean, if I talked, and in all honesty, and I mean, if I talked to anybody the way that she talked to people, I would have been out of this community a long time ago, because that's one thing about Day One I know that everybody has been pushing since I've been involved with the community since, January of last year. It has always been about...
If someone works at Burger King, they can't talk to people like that. Like, it's freaking ridiculous, especially being in an entertainment medium where your whole audience is online. Like, no, it's ridiculous.
Give you a really good point in case. I do tech support, and so I work for a fairly large medical company that I do tech support for, and I do hospitals. So they what happened, I had actually had a customer interaction where they called in, and this customer called in with a particular, they were upset and they were mad and stuff like that. And I actually had I was having like a really bad day that day, and I actually accidentally, not paying attention to how I was talking, I came off very rude and condescending to them. Within 30 seconds, my boss had me into the office, and he was drilling me on how I was talking to them. He basically said, "Hey, they're our customer. You treat them with respect." And I know that myself as a creator. I know that. I just was having I understand bad days. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you still have to. You can't incessantly keep doing this to your customers, to completely wipe out a whole person just because of what they believe. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. This is why I've completely come down to it. It is all ideological based. It is not based on race, sexism, or whatever. Because we have trans creators, we have gay creators, we have
there's
POC creators.
Every kind of person's in the group. It's absurd to say that it isn't. Like, it's just a regular mix of people. I don't know if white people are even the majority, like 50% maybe. And I've noticed among comic book fans that tends to be the case too. Like, all kinds of, like, every walk of life, every race, gender, like, I've seen all kinds of people in comic shops. It's just, it's weird because comics have this weird, like, stigma almost. You wouldn't say, oh, all kinds of people watch movies. Like, yeah, of course. Like, why is it even an assumption that there's race as an aspect? Like, it's so bizarre to me.
Mm-hmm. Because they made the assumption, not us.
This is true.
Well, I think this also, if you look at, I don't know if you guys looked at that exchange last night, it's almost they all parrot the same lines, because it's lemming and groupthink that really it just baffles my mind. It's like, it's the same thing as, when I grew up as a kid, and once again, this is going to show my age. You never, as a kid, mentioned you were in comics or into video games. You didn't mention that stuff. If you got found out you were into that stuff, you got picked on, beat up, and stuff like that. You did not mention that stuff. Yeah, you got labeled. And this is what baffles me. It's like you're these normies have basically taken over. The industry, thinking that they can run everything, and yet we've already been marginalized, and you're going to come in and marginalize us even more. I mean, WTF?
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
Well, just look at how they treated Peter Samedi.
Yeah.
For real.
No one is talking about that. It's just Comicsgate is evil. Comicsgate is a hate group, etc. But whatever happened to Samedi, no professional has nothing to say about it.
Nothing good. I mean, they just kept piling on the guy. It wasn't cool at all.
Well, did you see the the latest article last week? Last weekend I was listening to Tug, and he had this article up. They're now spinning it. It was our fault that they came after Peter Samedi. I said I saw that coming from. Yeah, I said I saw that coming from a mile away. It's because he's in the middle. He's like me, and he's like Rodrigo and a lot of other people. We care about customers. We care about the interaction with the customers. So we don't care if you're on which side of the aisle you fall on. No matter who you are, we want our comics in as much as people's hands as possible. And I firmly believe that this is a hit job. They want him to force him to pick a side. Because with them, it's an ideological battle, so they need you to force and pick a side. I didn't come out the gate right away saying I support Comicsgate when I first started. Back in 2017, I got pushed over here by a pro who basically, he translates a lot of manga and stuff like that. He basically was very disrespectful to me. He told me to shove my head in a toilet and flush it with shit in it.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So
that's the thing too, is they always go with this like extreme way of talking and thinking too, and in weird ways. And it's just like, really, even if you want to tell someone off, why would you do it in a way that represents yourself in such a poor way?
Yeah, exactly.
It's stupid.
So I basically I've lived this motto. Kill them with kindness. I think that's really the best way to kind of just keep doing what we're doing. Let those people let them be the assholes, in my opinion. We know we're not hateful. We know that we support creators from all backgrounds. And this is why I really hopefully we can see more female creators come out. I'm really looking forward to Mindy Wheeler. She's going to be doing a project here very soon. I hope everybody supports her. Nerd Wonder, you know what I mean? She's helped. John's bringing her up. I want to see more female creators do stuff. And that way we can say, look, you guys are the ones being the jerks, the assholes, and stuff like that. Here we are. We're working with a group of talented people, from every race, creed, background, religion.
I don't know.
Or gender.
After what they did to Alterna, I don't see them really changing. Like, that was pretty.
Yeah, this is the thing. They just keep doubling down.
Yeah,
they double down on the nonsense every day.
Good, Rodrigo.
Sorry, they never gonna stop. They're gonna keep doing this until they break.
And Alterna too. It wasn't even an individual project or something. Not that that would make it any better, but it was attacking another publisher like that is so extreme. Honestly, like, I guess it's legal, but it just seemed really. Like, oh, this little small fish is starting to rise. We better take him out.
I do want to answer something from Nummy. He said, what about using them as a shield? So there's a big difference between using people as a shield. I'm not saying that we're just using saying, hey, you guys complaining about diversity, we're not diverse, we are diverse. That there's a big difference. We're not using people as a shield, saying I guess.
I also want to say something about that. I don't like to say that I am Mexican every time, but sometimes I feel I need to represent myself to clarify that Comicsgate is not a hate group. I am Mexican. I have never been threatened by anyone in the community for my race, and also I don't feel used as a shield. I feel like an artist, to be honest. I don't know where. I don't know why these people keeps attacking when it's obvious that there is a lot of types of people in this movement.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the downside is we do need to be careful. We do need to watch, what we do and say to a point. Policing ourselves is good. Yeah, we don't want people to be used as diversity shields and stuff like that. Let people speak for themselves. That's the whole point.
I think you should be able to prove. Well, it's ridiculous to have to prove anything, but you shouldn't have to use another person to prove that you aren't racist or anything else. Like in that Border Town comic, right? This Vertigo comic, they accuse the character of being racist, and he stands up and he says, "I'm not racist. What did he say? I watched Steel on a VHS, so I like black people,
Japanese metal,
Japanese music, and I'm half Mexican, so I can't be racist." And it's like, well, why are those examples making you not racist? Like, just say you're not. Just like, I'm just not. I'm a good person,
The problem is it comes down to language. Language has been so diluted to, I mean, come on, when the fact of, they're calling anybody left of or right of them as a Nazi. I mean, when you're calling people who are, for gay rights, for, medical marijuana, abortion, and they may not agree with you everything politically, you're then saying that they're the ones you know what I mean? So words are completely lost at this point. We no longer have definitive meaning because they're always moving goalposts. So ideally, I know we're kind of beating a horse here. It comes back to really ideally, overall, we just need to really just keep doing what we're doing within the community, support everybody that we can. You don't have to buy every comic that gets put out in Comicsgate, but you need to, I think you should try to support as many as you can. If it's one comic a month, one comic a year, that's fine. You're still supporting the industry.
Just buying, buy what you want. If you like it, buy it. If you don't, then don't buy it. It's a lot of books. That's my take.
No one is forced to buy any type of books.
Yeah, any good product will sell itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
no doubt.
But I think that's really what we are offering in terms of, I think, with Sporkman. I think, we're offering what, for me, bringing it back to what the comic is all about, we're all about, fun. We're hoping that fun will sell people on the idea of why Sporkman is a great character. And I think it is. I mean, it's fun. We're being respectful for cultures. We're being respectful for, the creators who we have among us. We have a very diverse group of people from around the world working on this project. We are, so we're bringing our A game, basically. That's just my view, where I'm at. We're bringing our A game to the whole project.
That's the whole thing about it. The politics and everything aside, it's just a good book. Like, I wouldn't be interested, I wouldn't be supporting it in various ways if I didn't think it was a good book. A lot of these books that people are working on are really good. Like you were talking about, you have Jack Irons doing stuff with you on this book. His stuff's really great.
I would love to be able to work with, I'm hoping down the road, we can work on a project, say with, Rags or with Wanpool, or say a Sporkman Momiji crossover at some point. You know what I mean? So, because these projects are such great creators, and the project these people are creating are such great projects. This is what really infuriated me about the whole thing about with Gail Simone. Excuse me, I apologize, because we have these great
you don't
projects.
have to apologize.
We have these great projects. The writing on I don't know if you've read the first book from Cowboy Jack. That first comic is excellent. I mean, Momiji, the first I love the whole story. Right out the door, she's kicking ass.
Oh man, yeah. I have to say, like, that book from start to finish, every page has action on it. That's something you don't get from Marvel anymore either.
Well, yeah, or even DC usually, sometimes, but not generally. Probably not on every page, that's for sure.
You might have like maybe 3 or 4 pages or something like that, and there's always time for exposition and talking and stuff like that. But if it's not really driving the narrative, or a lot of times I think nowadays people rely on words too many times.
Yes.
to get your story point across. That's one thing I got to love about Momiji was one of the great things is every panel in that story was not wasted at all. You could have took the words right out and I could have followed the entire story.
Yep.
And
it's well made. I mean, you can tell it was made by someone who reads comic books and understands the medium.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the same thing with the Ferryman. I mean, that's I hope you guys get a chance to read that, and I hope you guys got a chance to back the Ferryman, because that comic is excellent. The story on that is just unbelievable. It's thought provoking. It is now that's one that is a little bit more thought provoking. It's because it's the type of book it is. Yep. So, and the same thing with Rags. The other thing with like Rags is really, and this is why I got to say, Rags is making me want to up my A game and bring this to the thing, because that comic has so many different layers in it. It is unbelievable. That story they have crafted. Dealing with PTSD and military people who have served in the military and what they struggle through. I mean, unbelievable. But at the same point, they have this zombie apocalypse as the overall arcing thing, that serves as a backdrop for the whole story.
Yeah.
And that's what good comics do. They pull you in, and they kind of they play with your emotions, they play with your thinking. That's how you do things correctly. You don't just blatantly bludge somebody with a hammer. That never converts anybody. Negan. I don't know how many people have read The Walking Dead. Nobody wanted to go to Negan's side because he was sitting there bashing people over the head. You know what I mean? People were coming to Rick's side because the way Rick treated people, the way Rick talked to people, and stuff like that. So there's a big way. You can't. You're not going to convert anybody by bludgeoning them to death. You're going to do it by talking with people and stuff like that.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, it's simple. It's customer service. It's just common courtesy and all that. It's simple, especially if your name is really well known and on the front of the book that you want people to buy.
Yeah, and that is something, I know for us as a team creator, we do have a little bit of a challenge against us. And this is why I'm hoping people will support us as much as possible. We can't create more Sporkman stories without the support from the community. I think we have a great community. I think we have a great group of people that want to support good comics, and we're gonna the logistical stuff are going to be worked out in the future and stuff like that. But we need to, in order to keep these stories going, we need people to back us. So for what we have to offer, I think we have a good pricing point. We got a great story. We got a great creative team. I don't think, even as much as Eric and I would bring to the project, and Tiffany too, without having Rodrigo, without having Ninja doing the mini comic, without having that comic gal doing the new cover, I don't think this project would have been. I mean, we would have eventually released it. It would have been done in black and white, but we're giving this whole new dynamic to the project.
Yeah, that Jim Lee cover you have too is really good.
The what?
I was just saying your Jim Lee cover.
Jim Lee cover.
Really good.
I wish I could have Jim
Lee. That's at the $100,000 mark. You can unlock Jim Lee variant.
For sure, man. Oh man, if I had no, you knew who I would love to get to if I could really afford it. It would be another alt cover, Kelsey Shannon.
Dude.
I would love to have a variant cover done by Kelsey. You know, just as that would be like the $40,000. You know, because Kelsey's artwork is just unbelievable. You know, so I actually I had thought about talking. I had been talking with him about, you know, if we had more time, that him doing a poster for Sporkman. But we just didn't have enough time to work out the logistics. I would love to have him do a poster of Sporkman Goes to Japan. You know, that would have been, you know, it would have been a higher poster, but it would have been one that people could have put up on their wall and stuff like that, you know. So, but we just didn't have enough time.
That would have been cool, but you got a lot on here already. I mean, with T-shirts and everything.
Yeah, I think we have a lot to offer,
so
you know, especially. And then we have the figure. So, you know, which Ninja is one of the backers out for the figure. So
yeah, I needed one of those. Well,
and I've got my
my
counterfeit.
For real.
What's that?
Oh, I've got the counterfeit Sporkman figures too. Since
I'm gonna spell them out of the back of my van.
Yeah. He's like missing a leg or something. It's fine here.
Yeah, they come already broken in the package.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good though. It's going to be a good book.
Yeah, I really, you know what? I honestly, I love it. It's a work of passion, you know, because I love superheroes and I love Japanese manga and anime. So I really wanted to give a homage to both of my loves, you know. So we worked in and we really were able to craft a very good story.
Yeah. Well, you write about things you care about and enjoy, it will show. Just like you're saying, superheroes and Japanese culture. You got a little sci-fi in there, some action, mechas, a lot of humor. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a good package. I think people are really going to respond to it. It's just a matter of getting the word out there.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, and then this is where the other part comes into, you know, getting out there. And this is just for anybody who down the road who is looking to do their own Indiegogo. You're going to need to get out there and sorry, that's my kitty cat. She's scratching herself. The thing is, you're going to need to be able to get out and promote your project onto other people's channels. You know, you're going to need to build the support, and you know, John and Ethan and DNC are really correct. In order to sell your Indiegogo, you need to build an audience. You know, and that's what really needs to be done, and you have to work at that. You know, and that's the thing I think Rodrigo has done. He's built a great audience with his project. Same thing with Rags. I mean, Rags sold out. I mean, come on, you know, they're sold out.
Yeah.
I mean,
how many days did it take him? Like what?
Days.
A week? 2 weeks?
It was 2 days.
2 days.
2 days? What? I thought it was that longer than that.
Nope.
2 days, all gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
I'm even more blown away. On
eBay too, if you want to try and get
one. Yeah, I saw that. I saw somebody was selling one for like $138.
Yep.
I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, and there isn't a talk. I know that, and they're trying to talk to AP about doing a second run. So hopefully they get that because I think those guys deserve it. I mean that project is a fantastic project, and I'm glad to support it. And that's what I want. We got this great community of people. I'm hoping people will back our project. Because we love our project, and we want people to know that we love comics, we love superheroes, and this isn't the end of Sporkman. This isn't not going to be the thing that just to let people know, this is not going to be the end of Sporkman. We have a bunch of other stories in the work. Like you said, we're talking with Ninja about possibly doing something down the road. But we need to get through this first, and we need people to support us, and we can't do that without that support, And one thing I will tell you, from anybody, you will be treated as a customer with us. You will be treated with respect, even if you don't like our project. Let's say you don't even like our comic, you read it and you don't like it. I'm still going to treat you with respect.
Yeah.
So
I think that really means a lot to a lot of people.
Well, that's what made me such a big fan in the first place.
Yeah.
Is that he's a man of his word, and you don't get that from a lot of creators. They don't talk nice. They don't treat people right. They'll tell you, don't buy my book. Call you a man baby or a misogynist or a homophobe or some nonsense. It's just common decency. And well, for one, the talent. I mean, he's got a great story. When people read this, if anybody who reads this and they don't like it, there's something wrong with them. They're not true comics fans. Then I would say.
Well, I don't know if they're true comics fans. I don't go because not everybody's going to like everything, and
Right.
But the thing is, if you can at least, if you disagree with it, provide constructive criticism where you felt it was wrong. Don't sit there and say, oh, well, you guys are all just sexist, racist, homophobes, and that you've lost weight on your argument. Tell us why. Oh, well, I didn't feel that your writing was this good on this part and stuff like that. That's the thing, and I'll be honest with you. Somebody that I interact with the community bought Conventions, and he felt the story wasn't the greatest. And he offered what excuse me, I apologize to you guys. He loves the character. He loves the character. He just felt that the writing wasn't up to where he felt it should be. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you I appreciate that. And I actually took those suggestions back to Eric and say, hey, here's what we need to work with on the next comic. This is what we need to this is what we need to do when we basically he felt the character didn't grow in Conventions. And rightfully so, because, that was meant to be a one-shot. There wasn't really meant to be any evolution of his character in that project at all, and really, ideally. It was actually just
to show who he was, really.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the thing is, it's still a great standalone story. And, and I did tell the person who bought this, I said, well, okay, I know you feel this way on this. Thank you for your information. I'm going to take this back to my fellow creator, Eric, and I told him, and he's like, okay, we'll keep that in mind. But I did say to him, I said, dude, you're going to want to back Japan because you're going to definitely see the character growth in Japan. Ninja, I don't know if you feel that way. I felt Sporkman grew huge in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
He's big in Japan, you could say?
Well, yeah. You could say that. I mean, I don't want to say anything that might spoil things, so we'll just say, the character development, the way he interacts with the rest of the community while he's in Japan. I mean, you understand who he is and, what kind of person he is and what he's about. I mean, it gets a little, it gets even, the writing got better throughout the whole thing, for sure, I guess, if you want to go there. But I mean, they really did. They did a good job developing the character throughout the rest of the series and having fun with it at the same time. You know, all in all, it really is. It's a good read with good characters, and I'm kind of waiting. I'm excited for whatever next issues may be in the wings.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, we want to, so character growth is very important. So we took that information. So that was a person who had a constructive criticism, and I know some people are, they're very theatrical with what they do with their, burning their comics and stuff like that. I personally wouldn't do that. But, that I wouldn't do that, and I hope somebody wouldn't do that with my comic. But I understand why people do it because they're upset, or they're doing it for a show. But the thing is, I will take any constructive criticism, even if I don't agree with it, because criticism is important. That's how you grow as an artist. That's how you grow as a writer. That's how you grow as a creator.
Yeah, and really, if you're gonna put out anything that you've made yourself, you're gonna get criticism or negative feedback eventually from somebody. It's the same with making YouTube videos. Someone's gonna comment and be all snarky, and you're just like, well, what have you ever made? Because a lot of times people who actually create things, they'll give constructive criticism. They'll be coming at it from an angle of, how to actually improve it. Whereas a lot of people, they just sit around on the keyboard all day and are like, oh, this sucks. It's like, okay, but compared to what? Compared to the shows you watch on HBO, or compared to, it's like perspective is important.
Yeah, exactly. And that's basically, that's my view. That I will reiterate again and again to anybody. You're not going to get treated like crap with us. I'm going to value as the customer, because I keep coming down to it. If it wasn't for the customers, we have no project. We'd have, this would have if we treated the customers the way these big pros do, it would have failed. Back in 2005 when we released our first thing. So that's the way I look at it. So,
yeah, makes sense to me.
But the thing is, I really want people to, and now in terms of the project itself, I don't know if you want to kind of, we got about 20 minutes or so left. I don't know how long you were planning on going.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Bringing back to the actual project, Indiegogo, why people should back it. Because the first thing is it's fun. That's one big reason why I want people to back it. B, it's to show that there is a market for independent comics, and there is there is a demand for good independent comics, and that's the thing is or good comics in general. I've used the hashtag Team Comics because that is what we are. We might be Comicsgate, you might be Comicsgate adjacent, whatever. We are still Team Comics, no matter what. The Peter Smith hashtag really hit me hard because that's the thing is we're about supporting good comics, and no matter who it's from, be it from Marvel, DC, Image, or no schmoes like me, so that's where I'm at. So,
another thing. I was just going to say another thing too with Sporkman. I think is good and important to emphasize is it's not political or anything like that. Where a lot of books are getting to be really political, and I think people are really exhausted with that.
Yep.
So it's just a fun comic. It's not a whole thing about politics and
well, and that's why I said there's no political hot takes in our comic at all.
Yeah.
Well, you might have. Well, let me rephrase that. Okay, there's no modern political hot takes because Shogun-Z has a reason why he's doing what he's doing, but that's coming from the fact of it's still not a political hot take of any hot take that we have nowadays. I don't want to give anything away, but Shogun-Z has a reason why he's doing what he's doing, but it's not a political for political sake. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So he's a villain with a motivation. He's not just random evil bad guy.
Right.
That's
yeah,
good.
there's a really big reason why he is doing what he's doing. It's so there. Yeah. So that I don't want to give it away. So, but yeah, there's a big reason. But coming back to
give it away.
Give it away.
I'll get the exclusive on my channel. The secret reason that Shogun-Z is... No, you don't have to.
No, that's okay. So the reason why Shogun-Z, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. So the reason why Shogun-Z does want to basically come to power is because he is descended from the shogunate. So he basically believes that he is the rightful ruler of Japan.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So yeah, so he wants to bring he actually wants to bring Japan basically back under shogunate rule.
Interesting. That's cool. Yeah, you don't have to give away too much, but that's good. That gives us an idea of his motives.
So, and it doesn't give away any of the story, like what else is going on. It just gives you a motivation for why he is the way he is, and that actually ties into why the mechs are there, and why he uses robo ninjas and stuff like that. So those all serve a purpose. To why he is who he is. So, but the other reason why I really hope people will back is A, because of the price point. That's one of the big things that we really took into consideration. A, because we had already released these before, but a lot of people, that was the biggest thing they complained about, was the buy-in price for a lot of the Indiegogos.
Yeah.
Were very high. So, most are at $25. You're getting 24, maybe 48 pages, maybe more if you reach their stretch goals and stuff like that. So right at the door, with us, you're getting $12. You're getting 91 pages. Well, actually, technically now it will be 32. So you're looking at 96 pages.
And if you hit your stretch goals too, it goes up.
Yeah. So you get 96 pages just on the Japan issues. And then on top of it, you get another 52 pages with the Sporkman conventions. So right there, you're already getting over 100, almost 130 some pages.
Yeah.
Or actually more, 148 pages, 140 some pages of stories.
Wow. That's all colored and lettered and everything.
Yeah, well, the only thing that's not colored is the To the Rescue, and that's because that's an ash can. So, but but other than that, the main stories, conventions, all three Japans will be colorized. So you're getting for $12, you're getting that, and on top of it, if we hit our stretch goal of 10,000, you are going to get another full standalone issue of Red Ninja Momiji.
Yep.
So that's another. Rodrigo, what's the page count? 60?
60.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good book. I mean, it's this is the thing, man. This is like one of the best campaigns ever.
Yeah,
all that really stuff, all that, $12, can't beat that.
Yeah.
Cannot.
That's true.
Oh, even if you go in at the $25 value. I mean, $25, you're still getting a hard trade back, plus you're getting conventions, and because that's still, you're getting the you'll still get the trade paperback, you're getting the digital versions, and you're gonna also then get the conventions at the $25. So you're still making out even if you go to the $25. Do you know what I mean? So
heck yeah.
So really what we're doing is we're giving people more bang for their buck. And that's the other thing. At $12, I mean, you're getting 4 comics in floppy, and then if we hit that stretch goal, you're getting that 5th comic.
Yep.
So, that's really another reason why to back the project. You're getting support, and you're getting support from multiple creators within the industry. It's another reason why to back the project. You're getting access to, another project that has a very limited print run. You have to order on demand. You're going to get that within here. Like I said, if we get it to even the higher, the 15K, we might have a possible third comic or a sixth comic to add in, possibly.
Now, I noticed on the $12.
Kind of excited for that.
Go ahead.
On the $12 buy-in, you get an emblem decal too?
Yes.
Okay, but not on the $25 one?
No, you get it for the $25 one too.
Okay. Oh, okay, it does say it. It doesn't say it under items included, but it does in the description. That's cool. So yeah, you get the decals with those too.
Yeah, every level gets the decal. Basically, there was there were some problems going on trying to set up the Indiegogo is not the most user friendly site to set up stuff on. I actually had an issue where the t-shirts, instead of and I actually had to go back and edit some of the responses because the t-shirt options when you were setting it up on there, the thing you couldn't choose t-shirts and what is available. You actually had to type stuff in and different sizes. Well, it didn't put in all the sizes for the t-shirts or yeah. So I had a couple people kind of turn down the fact of the t-shirt, because it wasn't listed. So I basically said to everybody, if you order the t-shirt, I will email you and get your size and stuff like that. So,
nice.
Yeah, because the other thing too is they only allow you so many things you can actually put in your items included. So that was part of the other problem that I had too. Yeah, unfortunately, there's some site things that they need to change, in my opinion. But yeah, so also on top of it, now that at the $12 level, I will let everybody know at the $12 level, you do not get the digital files. Just to let everybody know. You're just getting the floppies.
Yeah, but I think most people would be okay with that.
It is at the when you get to the $25 level and higher, then that's when you get the floppy or you get the digital files along with the stuff. So we're just kind of trying to make something available. This is trying to get people in for the cheaper amount because the $12 is a very good buy-in. So.
Yeah, it's like I thought too when I made the promotional video that the $12 was a really good place to buy in at.
Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping people would do. And then the other reason, the final reason I would say to back us is you're supporting people within the community. You're supporting Rodrigo, getting him the ability to have a paying gig. Same thing with Ninja. They're getting work. And that's a big reason why to support us, because then they'll be able to use those funds towards creating their own project or supplementing whatever they need to do.
Yeah, and build the resume too.
Yep, and builds their resume.
Very cool, because it's definitely hard. Yeah, it's definitely hard to get on with these big comic companies or whatever without having that indie experience. That's usually lately it seems like they hire up from Dynamite and Image and all that. So maybe this will be their new market to hunt for talent, be on these indie books. The real indie books, not just indie publishers.
Exactly.
Maybe.
I'd almost be afraid to go work for Marvel or DC at this point, though.
I understand that.
Me neither.
Like the way they treat their employees, you'd be afraid. You say the wrong thing, you make the wrong joke because you think you're with your friends, and then they report you to your boss and you're blacklisted.
I'm concerned too with things like them not paying. They don't pay the creators adequately for their creations. DC as well, but Marvel, is Jim Starling who created Thanos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't he's on the outs with Marvel. Like, he didn't get any money from Infinity War. They really threw him under the bus on that, and it's like he created Thanos. That was literally Thanos the movie. So what the heck? You know, they both companies will really not pay if they can get away with it. I just saw Chuck Dixon tweet. I don't know if you saw that. He was talking about not getting the royalties for the overseas sales on his books.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's pretty upset about it apparently because he tweeted about it. I retweeted it.
Oh
but that's crappy.
What is? See, I don't get this. You know, I understand you got to make money. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I know you have to make money. Okay. But the fact of not to pay your creators who create your stuff and not to pay them what they're owed, you know what? It's almost like the music industry all over again. You know, that's one of the big reasons why the music industry collapsed the way it did for the longest time, because the fact of they were not paying the singers the royalties they deserve. You know, to me, you're creating your own music and you're writing your own music. You should be getting the royalties from it. And this is one of the reasons why somebody said to me, well, if you ever got Sporkman, would you take it to DC and sell it to them? I'm like, no, I want creative control 100%. I do not want my product to end up like Superman. You know, and it ends up in, you know, the family is living on a dime, or Bill Finger. You know, let's use Bill Finger as an example. The guy died in obscurity.
Yeah, that's a really good example, unfortunately.
You know, it probably one of the best icon, you know, a big reason for Batman, who Batman is today, is because of Bill Finger. It's not because of Bob Kane. Bob Kane did some creation. There was a lot of stuff that Bob Kane originally had as Batman that didn't work, and Bill Finger is the one that actually changed a lot of what Batman is today to what we know.
I'm okay with the co-creator credit on Batman. Like, as
yeah, both of them deserve to be on it. Both, just like both Schuster and Siegel, both deserve their creative credits on Superman. You know, I don't agree with the fact of DC, you know, royally, or Marvel for that matter, royally screwing people over on their projects that they have actually created. I have a huge issue with that. You know, now it does also come back to the creators should be making sure their contract is negotiated correctly. You know, and that of course, you know, we don't know the ins and outs of the contract, but, you know, I mean, I really, really hope that they, you know, that he takes Marvel to the bank, because it's bullshit. You know, overseas sales should be treated just the same as domestic sales.
Yeah, well, he had been getting paid for it. It just, the checks stopped coming, and he tweeted to ask DC why he added DC Comics, as I recall.
Oh man, so yeah, that's sad to hear that.
Yeah, Bane Conquest, that miniseries is just out last year, so I'm sure it's still on the shelves in a lot of places.
That just
I kind of liked that series. It's really cool too. On I think it was like issue 3, Batman and Bane actually have to work together. It was a great dynamic. See, stuff like that's really good because it's the creator. It's Chuck Dixon writing Bane, you know, and they even had Graham Nolan doing the art too. So it was the both of his creators on it. So it really shows. Yeah, I thought it was great. It was a 12-issue miniseries, but it didn't sell.
You know, I would love to be able to go and purchase some of these titles. You know, I mean, because there's probably a couple of them. Like, I would like to go buy some of the Punisher titles and stuff. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Until we get an apology from Marvel for the mistreatment of fans and creators of their company, I think I'm going to just stick with indie comics.
Well, there's so many choices, you know.
Well, that's the thing is, yeah, I'm going to take my money elsewhere to people that actually show respect and actually care about their product or their characters, and they're not, you know, just screwing them up.
Yeah.
Or killing them off in a weird way. Like, the whole Captain America Nazi thing was retarded. I mean, if they were going to do that story, why the heck not use Bucky? He was already brainwashed. And Captain America.
Was that Secret Empire?
I don't know.
Yeah, the Secret Empire too, which comes back to my whole problem of them using the same titles for their project. You couldn't come up with something better instead of reusing a title that was used already. You know, Secret Empire. Okay, why couldn't you come up with something better than Secret Empire 2?
Oh, Spork, we had a question for you from the chat.
Sure.
And I think you talked about this earlier, but it's really good to bring it up again here towards the end. But Game Motron asks, speaking of overseas sales, how much is shipping to the UK for Sporkman?
Okay, so at the $12 level, it is $12. It is going, and then I do believe if you go for the trade, it is $15. And that's because the trade's a little bit more heavier, so we had to count for weight than the floppy. So yeah, so you're looking at the $12 level, it's $12 shipping and handling. Because what we're doing is we're spreading out the shipping and handling to everybody. Basically, everybody's paying a standard flat fee for shipping and handling. That's including Americans and stuff, and the foreign contributors. So they're paying. Everybody's paying a flat fee no matter what.
So if you're in the UK, it actually works out to be better than normal.
Yes. So so shipping to the UK would have been originally, the way we originally looked at it, it would have been about $20 to ship to the UK. So that's part of the reason why we kind of were, basically everybody from okay, so if it helps, I'm going to go for the $60 level. Okay, so so you're still looking at and I can tell you the $60 level would be okay. Are you talking about the $50 level?
Oh yeah, he's asking about the 60.
Well, we don't have a $60 level. We have a $50 level.
Yeah, that's probably what he means.
Okay, yeah, not a problem. So so the shipping and handling,
because he's probably converting from pounds.
So. Oh, okay, pounds to okay. I'm sorry. So so the shipping on, I can tell you right now. Give me one moment here.
See, that's what we're talking about. Customer service on demand. Yeah, he says $50. That's the one.
Okay. All right. So items. Okay.
I'll take a look at that too. I had here's the Indiegogo. Oh yeah, so you get the T-shirt with that one.
Yes, and that's the one you get. You get conventions T-shirt, the T-shirt, and the trade paperback. So the.
Oh man, you're making him do math live.
He's in tech support. He knows this.
Oh yeah, that's true.
For sure. So it's $15 for shipping and handling.
That seems good.
So so that tier. So and originally that tier, when we weighed it out, that would have been almost $30 originally to ship everything for that.
Yeah.
So we're cutting it by half, and it's because what we're doing is we're just kind of spreading the shipping and handling out. And like I said, this is the reason why we're doing this is because we're kind of taking a cue from Zach. I think that's where a lot of people kind of should have taken the cue on that. Is everybody's being just charged the same amount no matter what for the shipping and handling, no matter where at what price level. It's the same. So if somebody from America backs it, it's going to be $15. If somebody from Japan backs it, it's going to be $15 for the shipping and handling on that.
Someone in like Antarctica or something.
Still $15.
Yeah, ends up costing you like $2,000 by dog sleds and everything. All right, here you go.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the nice thing is for everything we found. By weight and stuff like that, because we kind of went on the weight, so we were able to we wanted to make sure that it was fair to the customers, because like I said, I got a lot of feedback from people who were from, I had a couple people from Canada express, they wanted to back the project. A couple people from, like I said, South Africa, a person from Germany. And I wanted to make sure that they were not being overcharged, because those places, it's bad enough that they got to worry about import fees and all this stuff. You know what I mean? I wanted to try to save them money as much as possible as I could without hurting us too at the same time. Especially
people in Canada, it's got to be frustrating because they're right there.
Well, it's the same thing for Mexico. I mean, they're literally right next to us. Why does it cost so much to ship there?
Yeah, a lot of stuff is printed in Texas and in the
South. It's very expensive. I bought some comics and the comics were cheap, but the shipment was overkill for me.
That's a drag.
And that's one of the other reasons why we wanted to support Momiji, because me and Rodrigo, we were talking about that with the shipping cost for him to ship stuff from, if he did an order for, say, Momiji, it would all be shipped to him. He's paying a lot of money, and then he would have to turn around and then ship it back out to people. That's a lot of extra expense. Whereas, with us being in the United States and we're getting it printed in the United States, it's just easier to be shipped to us, and then from there we can just we can ship it all out together, and it's being combined within the shipping.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. It's a good way to do it. Focused on making it affordable and accessible to the most people.
Yep, exactly.
And it really is a worldwide market. People often forget that.
Yeah, and I know a lot. I know a lot of the other creators. Like some of them waited till they reached a certain amount to charge. To open up international shipping and stuff like that. And I understand that. And that's one of the hard problems the indie market has to be able to break. Is we need to be able to come up with this viable way of getting projects to people. I'll give you an example. Like our creator is from Indonesia. Him and I were talking. I said, "Well, are your backers going to back us from Indonesia?" He's like, "Yeah, they're going to back us." He's like, "But what we're going to do is we're actually going to be sending the digital files to him, and then he's going to get them printed from there and shipped out from Indonesia to the people, because the shipping and handling to Indonesia was going to be very expensive." I said, "Well, let me work some stuff out, so now we can ship anywhere in the world. He doesn't have to worry about doing the printing and stuff like that, because we're able to cover everything." So
that's cool. That's the way to do it. Working with people to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. So and those are the big reasons why I would love people to support. You're getting a fun comic. B, you're supporting people within the community. C, we're growing a whole new industry. So Zach's correct. Zach is correct. We're creating this whole new industry from the bottom up, and it's just not being 4 guys from Image, or how many creators were for Image that created Image. This is a whole movement from the bottom up. This is a grassroots movement. So there's a lot of figuring out what needs to be done. Don't give up because the costs are a little bit higher. Just bear with us. So eventually we're going to get this figured out. If we can get this into LCSs, hopefully we can come up with a different option. If we can get into, let's say Sporkman can get into AP, Antarctic Press, or Alterna, because that's one of the goals we're looking at. Or we could, we don't know who we're going to go with. The nice thing is with Alterna and AP, they ship worldwide. So, and they get into LCSs. So those are a huge option for us to be able to get in. So hopefully maybe we can get in there. That will even serve people in the future as we create more comics. They'll be able to get those issues within their LCSs, or they can be ordered.
Yeah, that'd be really ideal. I think it's kind of the end game there is to have a publisher, right?
Yeah, yeah, that is really our end game. Our end game is, we want to, and I've really wanted to either be with Alterna or AP. I've been a really big fan of AP for years, just because they have a lot of the comics they had before. Gold Diggers is a great series. If anybody hasn't read them, and their customer service is really good. Say what you will about what happened with the whole Mark Waid thing. I think there's stuff we don't know about that, but they're treating Timothy Lim really good. They're treating Rags really good. I think they deserve the support we can give them. Same thing with Alterna. Peter is a wonderful guy. Probably, I think one of the most. If I could say one person's probably nicer than me, it's Peter. Yeah. I think Peter is bagged completely 100%, and he's being misaligned. People need to support him and his projects. And the thing is, keep in mind, not everybody's going to get into these things, but don't give up not printing your project or doing your project. There is a big community of support here. It may take people a little bit longer to get their project done. Don't rush into anything. Build your audience, which is key. You got this new project you want to work on. Build your audience, and this is just for anybody coming up wanting to do their own Indiegogo or their own project. Build your audience, or network with people like the way Rodrigo, Rags, Ninja, we're all networking together. Build a community among the different creators within the thing, because you're going to need people from YouTube to promote your project. You're going to need possibly a colorist or an artist. You're going to need someone who is going to be able to work on that while they're working on their own thing. So networking is very key to growing this whole thing. So I know it's probably rambling.
No, it's great advice, and I think it's really true. Some people can be really successful just without any real help, but I think for most people, the more help and support you have, it's going to work out a lot better. And you look at a lot of the people that are really successful, like Ethan. He's great at networking. He knows everyone, so it's kind of it seems to work.
Yeah, exactly. And in all honesty, I mean, if Ethan didn't know, let's say Ethan's just coming out the door and he's trying to get into Comicsgate. Let's say he didn't know Richard already, he would have had a very hard time getting within the community. But the fact that Richard vouched for him and they knew each other from their interactions and stuff like that. And I think Ethan did already bring a fan base and stuff like that. So
what's funny too is Richard got his boost from Captain Cummings.
Yeah, exactly.
So the biggest fish in the pond all got help at some point.
Exactly. And that's the thing is, I started my channel because of Doug Ernst and Captain Cummings. Both of those guys really inspired me to do what I was doing. Now, I wanted to do something a little bit different than what they were doing. I wanted to focus more on the indie stuff and the up-and-coming creators because, they needed a platform to be able to get out there and stuff like that, and that's the thing, you have to network. You have to get yourself involved within the community, work your way through, talk to people. And that's the best way to get your project noticed. That's the best way to get your project grown. That's what, a lot of people coming out with their own Indiegogos, but that's got to be first. You need to grow. You need to be able to network as much as possible.
Yeah, I guess Ethan too. I mean, he was a comics pro and brought a fan base with him, but he's really expanded within the online community. Once he decided he was going to be a YouTuber and all that, man, it's just like gangbusters. It's hard to not compete, but hard to even match up to someone like that, where it's just like, holy crap, how did you grow so fast? But he's got the talent. Like
you look at the other people that have come in. Look at John Malin. I mean, Brett Smith. These guys are pros, so they're bringing these fan bases in, which allows. Say what you will. Let's say you may not agree with Ethan's political view or John's political view. You cannot argue with their ability to network. those guys have such a great ability to network, and so you got to get yourself involved with them in some ways, because you need to be able to network and build yourself an audience, because even if they don't buy your product, but you talk with them, they might be able to willing to be exposing your product. If I would have reached out to John, and interviewed him for his project, I wouldn't have exposed him to Sporkman. Now he's got me on his channel Monday night.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow, you got to stream like every night, huh? Because you're going to be talking to Column, those guys, tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yep. I got it tomorrow night, and then Monday night I have Monday night is John Malin, and then possibly one day this week it's going to be Matt Trin. He's going to be coming out with his project very soon, so we're going to be focusing on that for a little bit. And then I do believe Edwin's going to hopefully be some point next week. I know he's got a lot of projects that he's trying to promote and stuff like that. So trying to squeeze us in somewhere.
Yeah.
So, and then there's you guys. I definitely networking is very important. Completely, 100%. This is why I wanted to get, this is why I'm glad you were willing to get involved and do the trailer for us, because that helped us, it helped us get it. You have a larger channel than we do. So it helped grow that audience. I know Nerdette back, I got to meet her through your channel.
Oh, wow.
So she actually retweets my stuff almost every day. So she, so we're growing. That's the thing is, we're growing, meeting new people and stuff like that. So that's what I look at. So
yeah, that's the way to do it. You're doing it all the right ways,
So no, I don't know if is there anybody else in the chat who had any questions, real quick.
Doesn't look like it, but did Ninja or Rodrigo have any other final thoughts you guys like to weigh in before we sign out?
Rodrigo? I'll let you go first.
Yeah, sorry, I just waiting for the fireworks again.
Oh yeah.
Well, first, thanks to Chuck for inviting me to the project. I'm very happy you did this. All I have to say is support this project, give it a chance, check out our works. I hope everything is okay.
Cool. Ninja?
All right. Well, first off, I want to say, really, these guys didn't have to bring me on to do the ash can or whatever. That was just something cool. I'm just was just a fan that loved comics, and I guess always wanted to make a comic. But this is the thing about this is this community is so supportive of each other, and it's almost something that you don't see in anywhere else in the world. And I think it really has something to do with our foundation in comics, because of growing up with that as our foundation. It gave us all a strict moral upbringing. It gave us a sense of, hey, I want to be like my heroes. I want to have integrity. I want to have honor. I want to be responsible for my actions. I want to have camaraderie with my friends. I want to be a positive influence in other people's life. And that's what I keep seeing within this community here. I have to say, the whole Revengers team, I think that really set it off for me. I don't know if you know much about the Revengers, DC, but
go ahead.
Spork is, whether he knew it or not when he did all this, he is definitely supporting the entire team, and it's basically a group of independent comic creators that have been a community amongst themselves. And, something really to be proud of, to see their interactions with each other, to see what they're making with each other, and the love and compassion and just fan interaction has just been like one of the most uplifting times of my life, other than like this comes in fourth after my kids' births, you know. So I got 1, 2, 3 births, and then becoming a part of this community is number 4.
Wow. So it's no joke.
Yeah, no, this is no joke, you know. Well, this is something real. Like, I have to say, give it up to these guys.
Yeah.
You know, support this project. Support them, because it's not just, you're not just supporting Sporkman. You're supporting, like, and the number just keeps growing for the people that are being supported by this project. And that's something to just really be proud of. So go out and back Sporkman Goes to Japan on Indiegogo. It is fantastic. No pun intended.
Absolutely. And I actually included the link to Sporkman Goes to Japan, the Indiegogo project. And it's in the description box. So if you're listening or catching this on the upload, definitely check it out with a link in the description. You know, it's really worth taking a look at. So I think that's all for now. Any other final words, Sporkman?
No, I think everybody has basically already stressed, you know, why we're doing this, why I would love to have your support. I look forward to everybody I interact with who is backing the project. You know, without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. You know, I would be, it would be a pipe dream, you know, in all honesty, you know, if we wouldn't have gotten the love and support from the beginning, you know, people wanting a project, wanting a great character, who were very open and receptive. So,
yeah, everything just kind of clicked.
Yep, exactly. So if you can, you know, first support, you know, DC Fans United with his channel. And then, you know, next, after you've done that, hit the like and subscribe. Come over to Sporkman Indiegogo and back us there.
Thanks. That means a lot. So that's all for now. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you guys for being on my channel. I really appreciate it. And it was a lot of fun.
All right.
Thank you so much for having us.